good evening, everybody, and welcome to Danielle, the Happy Medium. For those who do not know me, I am Danielle, and I hope everybody is well here on YouTube. Unfortunately, for some reason, the stream isn't working quite so well there. Unfortunately, I don't know why. It just doesn't seem to want to play a ball, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to take another look at that. But while I'm here, I'll take a quick look at the YouTube channel. As you can see, we are the other way. Hi to everybody who's just joining. I hope you're well. Hi, everybody. I hope things are okay. I'm just going to click into the stream so I can see what you lot are saying, but I'll turn my mush off. Hi to Samantha, hi to Jill, hi to Mama Loves You, hi Kay, hello to everybody who's just saying hi. So hello to you all, hello. I'm waiting for some of the admins to hello. So hi, I can see it here, but I can't see you. Hi to Donna Little and Michael's here as well. My apologies if well, I'm going to probably look. I don't know which way should I look. Hold on. Evening to Paula and everybody. I'm going to look this way. So that's it. So good evening, everybody. As you can see, we have the whiteboard behind me here because this evening with your questions that I am going to be I'm going to be trying to demonstrate it as well as speak it to you there so you understand what I'm saying. So I'm probably going to have to look this way. Please take my apologies so I can see your thingies. That last love live was freaky. I know, tell us about it, Jill. I was like, what on earth is going on here? I was like, I haven't quite fathomed that out. Like, I have to be honest with you on that one. Morning to Barbara, afternoon to Barbara, evening to Barbara. Carol's here as well. Hi to Kay, hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Big kisses, everybody. I hope this is all well. So I hope you have your questions here for me. What I will say to you is, I'm just going to have a drink of this water. Let me do the boring stuff first, and then we can get straight into it, and we can certainly answer any of your questions in which that you may have. So what I will say to each and every one of you is, hiya Danielle, I hope you're well. I certainly am. I'm certainly well. Boring stuff first. So obviously my workshops are available for those who are interested in the training. It is the ones that I do have available at the moment is the online courses, so please do get involved in that. It is all right for those who are maybe in a distance from me or those who are looking to strengthen their mediumship in regards to online courses. Also, I have Saltburn as well, so Saltburn is available as well, which is in the Redcar Yarm area for all those who are looking to certainly make their mediumship that little bit stronger, or looking to enhance or take a look at their mediumship in that capacity there. If you're interested in any of it, inbox me via the Facebook page, as you all know. But I am open now for any questions that you may have from the spirit world, or anything that you want to ask me, or anything that you would like to know a little bit more about with connections to the spirit world. So I don't know what it is that you all want to talk about, but I'm really well. I hope everybody's had a great evening. I don't know what's happened to that stream. I'll have to have a look at it. I'm like techno, honestly. I'm a girl, you know what I mean? I do my best. I really do try to like learn as much as I can, but I'm not that clued up. But I do try, and I suppose that's all that matters, as long as you try and things like that. So hi to everybody. Hi everybody who's there. I'm pleased you've all joined me. It's a pleasure to have you all here with me as well. We are a little bit early. We were supposed to be at 8 o'clock, so Danielle's a little bit early. I'm always early. I'd rather be early than be late. Hi to Derry who said, can you tell me a little bit more about joy guides? Great question from Marie. So let's break it down and talk about guides just in general. So most guides in the spirit world have a purpose. So let me sort of demonstrate this bit. So I'm just going to move this up a little bit so you can see a little bit more. I may need to stand. So I don't know if you can see me when I stand. Let me just turn this back. Right, so in a group of, with connections to the spirit world, we tend to have a few different guides. What you'll tend to have is one main guide, which will be your doorkeeper. Then you may have smaller guides or guides who sit under this. This person here is always the main man or main woman. Can you all see that? Let me just sort of move that up a little bit for you there. Mind my thingies. Can you see it? Can you see that? Because it's quite... Let me see if I put a different light on. Oh, gone dark. Hold on. We're just sort of getting it. Can you see that? Let me see if you can you see that? Can you see that? Do we need to put the light back on? I need better markers. I tell you what it is, let me get some paper. It might be easier with paper. So let me talk a little bit about this. Let me get organised, all right, because I'm very organised. So hi to everybody who's just in. So basically within a team, normally there's what we call a doorkeeper. Now, a doorkeeper can do all the tasks in which that it's designed for. It doesn't really need the terminology of doorkeeper, gatekeeper, whatever, but for the purposes of the stream and for you to get a bit of a better understanding, it's easier to give it a name. It doesn't have to have a name, but that's the name that it tends to have. Now, underneath the doorkeeper will be lots of other guides. So a main guide, joy guide, healing guide, all with different purposes, because each guide goes to guide school in the spirit world. Guides can only be guides if they have done their knowledge and done their work in the spirit world in order to be able to help a human here to the earth plane. A joy guide tends to be a running guide, or can be a guide who will retrieve and gain information, or will assist you while you are working with the spiritual world. Now, a lot of people say that it's spirit on spirit, and yes, that is the case, and I agree with that. But when we first start out as the newbie, it's easier to work with the guides until we get a better understanding of these types of things and how the spirit world's blending with your mind and how you understand it more. So all these guides have a certain purpose. Now, a healing guide obviously is its terminology. It's a healing guide. When you are doing spiritual healing, you will need a healing guide in order to have that guide. A joy guide and a main guide. Now, a main guide will guide you in the spirit world. They will assist you with your questions, the knowledge, things that you want to learn, these types of things. A joy guide can also be a main guide, so it can all be sort of blended into one there, Marie. So what I will say to you is all guides have names, but the names are really irrelevant because they can all do the same sort of purpose. A main guide could really do a doorkeeping position. A doorkeeper can do a main guide's position. So really they all sort of can do the same sort of position. So for example, my man, as you know, he does all aspects of my work for me. The only thing he doesn't do is this doorkeeping position. There's another person who does that position for me, and he's completely out of sight, no one ever knows he's there type of thing. I've only ever seen him once, and that was enough for me. But my main man, who you hear me talk about all of the time, hi to everybody who's just saying hi, he does every aspect. So he would do me a joy guide position. So a joy guide really is, when I talked about, when I learned about guides, joy guides basically were people who kept you jolly. You can get music guides, you can get guides who are used for different languages, you can get guides for any purpose. So philosophy, anything that you're wanting to gain knowledge in, there is certain guides in the spiritual world who have done extensive knowledge in that particular field in order to help you gain the knowledge or mindset in which that you want. You can learn it from the earth plane, there's nothing wrong with that, but it will always be somebody else's inspiration. Where if it's the spirit world and you get the knowledge from the spirit world, the knowledge is tailored around you so you understand it, so that the knowledge in which that is given to you will come straight from the spirit world there. A joy guide in essence is a joy guide, as it says, joy keeps you happy. It will also maybe help you with your spiritual aspects of work, or help you to understand your work more, or help to keep you bright and breezy, depending on what the purpose is in which that you've asked that guide for. Does that make sense, Marie? Does that make sense? Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. It's a pleasure to have you all here. I hope you're all keeping okay. Let me know what you think, Marie. Let me, if you need more understanding, then I'll certainly give you more understanding and knowledge on it. But most guides can do most jobs. The only one that I'd say is different is a doorkeeper. And a doorkeeping position for me is a lot more in depth. They have a lot of knowledge, doorkeepers, and they have a lot of understanding of the spiritual world, have a lot of knowledge to doorkeepers, if that makes sense. But a joy guide in essence is that. I've just started watching your videos last night and I'm blown away. I've learned so much already. Well, cheers for that, Kerry. I appreciate that. You know, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there very similar to mine. And I've got to be honest, I just do my thing. Like I do on Facebook, I just do my thing, and I just hope that it makes sense to people and that people understand, what I'm telling them. I try to mix a bit of the old school with a little bit of the new school sort of stuff in there. Why? Because I think we do need to still keep some of the old style in there with it, because it worked years ago. There's no reason why we should change it, but do some things need to change? Yes, of course. And as mediumship moves forward and as the movement moves forward, then yes, of course, we do need to keep evolving and changing our mediumship, or changing concepts, or learning new concepts in order so that we keep up with the times, because the spirit world's learning just like us, and we are learning with the spirit world there also. It's a two-way street, if that makes sense. Marie saying, yes, thanks, I'm full of joy a lot. So I was wondering if the connection with my Drogo will be a strong one. It will always be. It will, remember, when we come to guides, when it comes to guides are, we are what we attract. And I always talk is about this, about being positive and being as positive as you can always be. What you remember is the guides only understand vibration. They don't understand words or anything like that. They understand your vibration. So what I would say to you is the more you're admitting positivity, you're admitting these types of good things, then that's all you're going to get. And the guides will ultimately always incorporate in there with that. They are there to blend with you. They are not there to do your job. Remember this, they're only there to do their spiritual job. They're not there to do anything more. But the connection will always be. Remember, they've got personalities. People say you should remember them just as energy, which in all essence they are energy, but you have to remember these people will once have personalities, were once here on the earth plane. Some are not. I have worked with some that are just energy and have never had a human existence, but the majority of guys that I have met or have worked with extensively in the spirit world have all been of the earth plane. But what I will say to you in connections to that there, Marie, is remember that they're there to complement you, and they're there to help you move forward. They're here to help you grow. They're there to help you to understand the spirit world so much more. And the quicker we get used to that idea and listen to their knowledge and not other people's, the better it'll be for us all there. So I hope that helps you anyway. I tell you what, is that light's terrible. Jill saying, can I ask, a few weeks ago now, I shut my eyes to go to sleep for a second. There was a blinding flash and bright flash of white light in my eyes, and it scared me. Have you any ideas what this could be? Thanks, that's fab. Cheers, Marie. Flashing lights, colours, seeing faces, could all be a link for clairvoyance. It could also be that you're becoming more sensitive, which can happen. A lot of people are becoming more and more sensitive to the energy. They're becoming more and more sensitive to the understanding that there's another world other than the world in which that we live in here. So yes is the answer to your question. It could have some connection to that. I couldn't tell you for sure what the bright light was, but I can give you some understanding or ideas of what it may be. My question would be to you, Jill, what did it feel like to you? Not what I think, what do you think? So I need to, and I'm not that I'm trying to push that question away, because I'm not, because my interpretation will always be different to your interpretation. And this is what I say to people all the time. Always go with what your interpretation is. If it's for you, you think that it's a person, or you think that it was this, that, and the other, then that's your feeling on it. Always go with what you feel. Always go with what's best for you. I say this about people's mediumship all of the time, and also with like connections to teaching, anything like that. Always go with what feels right for you, because you know better than anybody, more than anything apart from the spirit world, who know you better than yourself. So always go with what it feels like to you. If it feels nervous, then there tends to be a reason as to why you may feel a bit nervous. If you didn't feel anything frightening from it or anything like that, then learn to embrace that. Always go with how it felt for you. So I'm going to ask you a question, Jill. How did it feel for you? And then we can take it from there. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi, and I hope everybody's okay. It felt powerful and scary. Right. Could you feel a man or a woman with it? Keep answering me, Jill. I've been sitting tonight, by the way, so my apologies if I look a bit rough and ready. No, but I felt I wasn't on my own, right? So that would tell me that you've got a sensitive link, or you're aware of the spirit world, or your sensitivity is heightened, if that makes sense. So straight away, have you been asking for a sign, Jill, by any chance? That light's shocking. Shocking. Must get some lighting in here. I am sorting that. I am sorting lots of things. Yes, off me nana. Well, there you go then. What does that tell you then? So that everything that I tell you on here, everything that I always say to you, works. So basically what it's telling me is that, one, you asked for a sign. Two, you got the sign, and then you didn't like the sign when you got the sign. And this tends to be a running theme with what I tend to find with lots of people. They ask for signs, they get the sign, and then they don't like the sign. And unfortunately, we can only ask for the sign. We can't actually dictate what kind of sign we want unless you've been specific about your intention when you've asked for your sign. So i.e. when you're asking for a sign from your guides and you ask for a penny, you're specific about which way the penny is, heads up, heads down, what particular day you want. So when you're having a sign off your nana, you need to be a bit more specific with your intent of how you want your sign, the way in which you want your sign, and the spirit will ultimately always deliver in that capacity. If you haven't put the intent and you've just been asking for the sign, then you got your sign, you just didn't like the way in which the sign was delivered. So you need to go back and say, right, Nana, I got your sign. Can you do it this way from now on, not to freak me out? And this is where it comes in with your mediumship. You're always in control. You have the ability to be able to ask and say what you want and what you don't want. And the spirit world will always actively encourage or will always try to deliver that in the best way possible there, or the way in which it's less likely to frighten you, because the spirit world don't want to frighten you, but they don't want you to not think that they haven't heard you either. So what you need to do is be more specific in your intent, be more specific about what it is that you want, and they will deliver. And Jill's just proven that everything that I say gets delivered. I have no faith in this. I have no problem in saying that about the spirit world. I've seen the spirit world on more than one occasion deliver things for me that I've asked for on more than one occasion with my guides and everything else for that matter as well. So best of luck with that one there, Jill. All right. Sarah's saying, I get images in my mind when I pray and I write down. So I always, hi everybody who's just saying hi. I write it down and also get someone shout out my name in bed when I'm dropping off to sleep. Right. So that would tell me, Sarah, that you're clicking over. So you're thinking yourself into the spirit world. Now, I did a video on this, but let me sort of break it down for you. Many people seem to think that the spirit world is just sort of random. It's not random. It's very similar. It's common sense, basically. The way I teach and the way that I deliver my teaching is I make my students stand up and I say to them, right, start thinking. And they'll go, well, what do you mean by thinking, Danielle? Well, who's there? What can you see? Is there anything there you can see? Can you feel anything around and about you? But what you will have probably done, Sarah, is you've started to think yourself in the spirit sphere. You've probably been thinking about either day-to-day tasks, or you've been thinking about the people in the spirit world, or whatever it may be, and you've started to walk your consciousness, which is what we call flipping. I call it flipping the switch. So you flip the switch from the conscious world and walked yourself from the conscious world into the spiritual world. Right? Because remember, thoughts are living things. Everything that we do when we're working for the spirit world is thought-based. It's not imagination. If it's imagination, you're making it up. That's silliness. It's silliness. Why do we need to imagine that the spirit world's there? We don't need to imagine anything. All we need to do is walk ourselves from the conscious world. So I'll give you an example. So when I'm doing any private sitting, I will straight away start to walk myself in the spirit world. So I'll start to think myself over when my client's sitting in front of us. Right, who's this lady looking for? Can you step forward? What's your name? Who are you to this lady? What's your story? What's your relationship? All of a sudden, my sensories will start to go off in my head. I might see an image of a lady. I'll be aware of the lady. I might hear the name of Dawn shouted in. So then I start to give that off. So I'm like, I've got a lady here with me. She's giving me the name of Dawn. She's making me aware that, she would be your grandmother. And that's how you walk yourself into the spirit world. Do you understand that? So what you're doing, Sarah, is when you're thinking and you're seeing images in your mind, you are walking yourself into the spirit world. You're thinking about your loved ones in the spirit world. And then the people who are shouting of you could be either one, your loved ones, or two, it could be that you are being shouted by your guides, because you may have some guides working with you. I can't say that for definite because I don't train you, but I could possibly say that that is a possibility. And from what you tell me, you're hearing names shouted and you're seeing images, it would tell me, one, there's a clairvoyant link going on, but I'd need to say whether it was psychic clairvoyance or mediumistic clairvoyance. Let me help you with that. Mediumistic clairvoyance only comes on when you are working for the spirit world. So when I'm doing a demonstration of mediumship, it will be only mediumistic clairvoyance as long as I have got my communicator here and I haven't lost my blend. Otherwise, it then becomes psychic clairvoyance. Now, psychic clairvoyance is when you are seeing images or you're seeing things, but you're not connected nor linked to a spirit communicator. Does that make sense? So I would need to see whereabouts in that capacity you were seeing. What do your images look like, Sarah? Tell me what your images look like. Barbara Clark saying, Sarah, my son sometimes shouts mom as I'm dropping off, and I'm a massive believer, but not gifted myself. How very nice there, Barbara. Very nice. Jill saying, I've been asking when I felt low, is it really you? And never thought of it like that. Thank you. I've heard that they also come to you in your dreams if they feel you are fearful. Yes, and I talk about this all of the time with dream work. You know, I did this about 2 years ago. I set a lot of you out on a path of a connection to dream work that I was given to off my guides, where you would think about your loved ones, because thoughts are living things. We need to get massively into this idea that we can manifestate anything we want, whether it be in the walking world or through thought-based. We can connect to the spirit world, be able to give spirit messages, and also be able to then give communications also from the spiritual world. But dream work is where you would sit and you would think about your loved ones about half an hour, 40 minutes before you went to bed, and they will hear you because they work on thought vibration. So they understand the thought, it's the vibration. It's not the actual words that you say, but because you're feeling a little tearful or you're feeling a little, your vibration changes because you're sad, it'll change. So they will become aware that there's been a change in the vibration, because energy is matter. So energy is constantly changing and evolving because of the vibration in which that we give off. If our vibration is staying normal and it's just started steady, then we're in a good place. When we're happy, it'll get faster. When we're feeling sad, it'll get a bit slower. So they are always altering and listening to the energy waves, if that makes sense. Even though they're not people, and I understand they're not people, they are just energy in the spirit world. We still have to understand that these people were once people. They once had personalities, and we have to give them the respect that they're entitled to in that way, even without the physical body there. So yes, it is very, in fact, I know for a fact it'll be true, and you've just proven, Jill, to the 20 or 21 people on this thing, that thoughts are living things, and that anybody can connect to the spirit world through the thought-based pattern and through the frequency of energy. So well done, Jill. Anyway, hi to Louise. Louise, can you monitor the stream for us as well? I'd be really grateful if you don't mind. Thank you, darling. One of my admins. Gemma's there as well. Gemma, can I have you as one of the I can't get you on, darling. Add as a moderator. There you are. Thank you very much, Gemma. All right, can you just take care of the stream for us, because I can't watch that much as well at the same time. Sarah's saying, I've seen all different. Thank you, darling. I've seen all different. I've seen gates with lights behind them. I see an eye, a wolf and a baby in an eye, and a woman, lots of things. Well, then I would say but how do the images look? Explain how the images look. Now, I did put a video up the other day about psychic images and mediumistic images, and there's a difference, and this is how I tend to know, for me personally and through my students, whether they're working psychically or whether they're working mediumistically. Now, mediumistic images tend to be, I'll give you a demonstration of it. So let's go with I'll go on my stick man, right? Are you ready? So here's the stick man. I'm going to get some better markers for next week. There's a stick man. Now, when you see the psychic image, that'll be all you see. Just the stick man. No more, no less. Now, when you see it is mediumistic, you will see like a haze around it, like a white glow, or you might say like a fuzziness. So it might look a bit jagged like that, then it might look a bit jagged like that. Sorry. Like this. So this is a mediumistic image with the white glow or the white haze or the white mist around it. When it's psychic, you will just see the man. All right, and that's how you should know the difference, because when it's psychic, it's just a plain box standard man. There'll be nothing more with it. If it's mediumistic, you'll be able to see the man with the white haze around, everything like that. But then behind the back of that, you should be starting to get more info. So you might get some info on a house. where he lived. You might get the door number 67. You might get, you might see factories. So he might have worked in factories and the smoke coming out the chimneys. So when it becomes a mediumistic image and it becomes the man with the main thing, there'll be more information. So there's a backstory to the man. So when we think ourselves in the spirit world, so say for example, we think ourselves, I wish I could demonstrate this. Can you see that on there? Because I'd love to show you what I mean by it. See if I can get a bit of pen. Can you see the red better? Can you see any of that? Let's see if I can get better light. Hold up, let's just take this mic off a minute. Can you see that on the board there? If I turn that light the other way. Hold on a minute, let's put it that way. Can you see that on the board? Nah. Shit. I'm trying to think of the best way to do it for you. Hold up a minute. Will do, yeah. Mist and haze. Yeah, that's right. I can't say it. No. And no, wait a minute. Let's see if we can try it this way. I've got a blue pen. I don't know. These ones are just thin that I use for the planner. I was meant to pick some markers up yesterday and I forgot when I was out. Because can you see the blue any better? Nah, it's the... I wonder if it's the light. It must be the light, mustn't it? Anyway, I'll do it this way. So anyway, basically, when we're walking ourselves into the spirit world, what you're doing is you'll think of the person. So there's a bit of brown paper. So you think the thought. So the thought is, so you get the thought first, right? So the thought can be any question. You've got to ask questions. So the first question would be, who is this lady looking for? In your mind, that would be the first thing, or whoever's sitting in front of you, who is it that they're looking for, which would it'll get you kick-started off. Probably then a man will probably come forward, so maybe a man or a woman, right? Then from there, from this point on, you would then say, what is your relationship? In your mind, remember, it's all thought-based, What's your relationship to the person, right? So can you see that? So you would ask what your relationship is to the person. And then the next thing you'd ask is, what's your story? What's your story, morning glory? What's your story? What's your story? And let them start feeding information in. So then you start and say maybe it's your images. Then you may say you don't have a black marker. Nah, I'm gonna have to get one, Louise. I was meant to pick some up yesterday and I forgot because I was busy with other things and my mind was elsewhere. But then then they'll start and feed in like images. So like I say, you might say the man is like the haze. And you have like, because you've seen him, he might start showing you a house. So you have one of two options. You can either go to the house or you can go to the factory. He's giving you two stories. Do you understand that? So it's up to you, is this medium, as to which one that you want to go for. You can go for the house and then you can maybe do some remote viewing, have a look round it. Always remember, when you first ask the question, is a medium, what is your story? And you see a house or this or the bed or whatever it may be, run with that, because that's what they're wanting to talk about. You don't get in the way, you just start and give what you get. So let's go with the fact that the man has give us the house, right? So now we're going to go from the house and we can then go into the house and start looking round. We can start opening the door. We can have a look inside. We can look at the carpet on the floor, the curtains. We can do a bit more remote viewing in here. We can maybe see what curtains are, how many people lived in this house. And from here, there'll be starting to be memories starting to be built. They'll be showing you like memories of what they did in the house. Maybe somebody broke a clock or something like that. But let them tell their story of the house. Now, once they're finished with all of that, it'll probably start to die off. Then they might bring in the factory thing. So therefore, because remember with a half-hour reading, you've got to fill it out. But when you're doing just ordinary messages, the house will probably be enough. The intelligence of the spirit world states they're clever. They know what they need to talk about in order to get their story over. Does that make sense? They know what it is that they need to get their story over. So let them tell their story. Stay away from the structure. You didn't want to be interested in no structure. The only things that you should be asking if you're working as any kind of medium or anybody who's wanting to work as a medium, thought. First things first, what is it? What is it who is it? What you doing there? Who are you? Who's this person looking for? That kick starts you off. But wait for your communicator. Don't do anything until your communicator comes forward. Once the communicator's there, you might see them. You might just feel them. You've got to use that sensories that's moving around there. So sometimes, remember, not every medium works on a clairvoyant link. So you use the other clairs that you have. Listen, you might hear somebody shouting, Dad. You know what I mean? If you hear it, give it. Because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be right. The only thing that'll make you think it's not right is the conscious mind, because the conscious mind will think, nah, that's not right, shut that out. But 9 times out of 10, it is right. Learn to go with that. Once you get that, then the next question you should be asking is, what's your relationship? You might already got that because I told you it was Dad, so you know it's a man. You can go straight into what is your story, and let them tell their story. Let them do their job. Don't let you as the medium get involved. Do you understand that? Don't get involved. Just let them do their job. When they're finished or it feels like it's drying up, move on to the next thing. Say to them, right, what's next? What else do you want to talk about? If you feel as if there's not enough evidence there, you can go back to them and say, right, what's unique about you? What is it that's going to stand out? What's your loved one going to know about you? These are the questions that you should be asking. But stay away from the age stuff. If they're going to give you the age, they will. If they're going to give you your name, they will. You don't need to ask for it, because they're clued up enough to know that you're going to need to know these things in order to prove the existence and the evidence of the intelligence of the soul survival. We could ask and we may get, and there's nothing wrong with asking, but asking too many questions is going to get you a lot of structure. Then you're going to build in structure because you've become accustomed to it, because it's working. It's getting you what you want, because you want to be this medium who gives names and dates and all this type of thing, instead of talking about the communicator and the evidence of the communicator. So bear that in mind when you're doing any kind of spiritual work there. All right, here's a look. Let's see what else is going on. Don't have a black market? Nah, unfortunately I don't. It's a man in and it can light fire too. Right. Well, have you asked that gentleman who he is, Sarah? Because if you can see him, it means you can communicate with him. So the next time you see your friend, that man, ask him who he is, what's he doing there, and what's his purpose. Because ultimately, we want to know what he's doing there, why he's there, and ultimately what he wants to talk to you about. Because ultimately, the spirit world don't come forward for nothing. They want to understand, or they want to talk to you for whatever reason. So find out what it is that he wants, Sarah. All right? All you do is just talk to him like you're talking to like you're talking to me. Ask him the questions. What you doing here? How can I help you? Who are you looking for? What is it that I can do for you? What's your story? Are you meant to be here? If not, and I get like talking like to the old wifey on the bus stop, a stranger you've never met. How do you start a convo? That way inclined, these types of things. Don't be frightened to ask them, why they're there, or what it is that they're doing, or why it is that stand out. If they tell you they're a guide, they're a guide. What kind of guide are you? What's your purpose? What can you help me with? Why have you been sent? Where have you come from? All these types of things. Just ask a million questions, but take the first answer that you get. And a lot of people are trained panic. They think that because of what they're hearing, or it isn't right, or it's wrong, or they're being told it's wrong, or they're being taught a different way, or the mind's not free enough, if that makes sense, to allow this knowledge or allow that trust to sort of come in there, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps you a little bit, Sarah. Debbie's saying, no, I will the next time it happens. Thank you very much. No problem at all. Debbie's saying, if you saw a person normally, is it to a mind playing games? Is it your mind playing games with it? If you saw a person normally, is it your mind that plays games? Right. A lot of people are talking to me about the fact that they're not quite sure whether it's the conscious mind imagining it, or whether it's an actual spirit base. If you always go with the concept of these images, always look for the images like this. If you're seeing images like this, or what I call movie playing, so movie playing is where you might get 5 or 6 different screens. So like this. Wait a minute. But they all play like simultaneously. Like as if they were on like a loop. Or they're on a movie type of thing. So I don't know, curtains and there's a woman in there. And then there's the curtains and the woman. But these are me stick people, all right, because I'm the artist here, like. And then you might see the woman with her curtains, and she's got a dog with her. See, so the movie is constantly changing. So we've gone from the curtains and just the woman to the curtains and the woman waving, and then the curtains and the woman and a dog. This is like a movie playing, which is a mediumistic link. So if you always wonder whether or not you're imagining it, or whether you're making it up, then you look for the imagery. The imagery will always give it away. Mediumistic images, psychic images. Psychic images are basically made up, imaginary, coming out of, your sort of, you can conjure this up, you've made this up, you could make that person up. If you see the person like this, I'll tell you a story. There was a guy who I seen downstairs about 2 years ago, and I see the spirit well when I see them. Sometimes I don't see them very well at all, depending on where my mind is as the mental medium. We have to bear this in mind as well, that your conscious mind, or how your mind is playing out on any particular day, can alter and change how your clear range works, because of your day-to-day, everyday life is constantly jamming in with the mental medium's mind there. But I remember there was a gentleman downstairs, and I seen him as clear as you were looking at me. But round him was just this lovely touch of haze. Just like it was like a haze. It was like static. It was fantastic. And honestly, I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was as if you were looking at me. I could see the lines on his face and everything. And he was stood at the double doors, and through me mind run, can I come in? And I went, no, I says, you can't. I says, get back out of there. And he was, my daughter was dating a lad at the time, and it was his granddad, and he'd come to see his grandson, because they like to keep an eye on us. Jill's just showed us there, they like to keep an eye on us, and if we're asking for them, they'll come. But always remember your images. When we're working with clairvoyance, look for the imagery. If it's like this, if it's like that, I have to question whether it's your own imagination, or whether you're making it up, or whether you're so wanting it to be that way, but really it's not. So bear that in mind when you're seeing your images, folks. All right. Sarah Ball saying no, but I will next time if it happens. Thank you very much. Certainly do. I love the spirit world. As you know, I'm really passionate about the spirit world. I'm really passionate about teaching and things as well, and I can't do any more than what I'm doing at this time, and I just hope he had an aura light around him. But then that's the spirit connection, the aura light, which is the static. Do you understand that? It comes in as like a white haze or a white glow, or it'll come in as like just a white, like a warm glow around them. It's fantastic. I love it, May. And that's how you know the difference between what's being made up, and really you don't want to be making anything up. I've got to be honest with you. I've seen some stuff, in other places, and I don't really agree with it. I've got to be honest with you, because I don't think you should be making anything up. You shouldn't be you should be waiting for your communicator. You should be waiting for the spirit world, because then ultimately everything you get is from the spirit world, and no more, no less. If you're making it up and then waiting for the spirit world to step in, you're then working psychically and mediumistically, which can make it very sort of confusing for the Buddha medium who's trying to be that evidential medium that we're also massively banging on about. So the best thing to do is always wait for your communicator, and then step in, and then start communicating. Don't jump for the psychic energy. Don't jump for your clientele's energy because you're worried that there's nothing coming or this type of thing. Always wait for your communicator, and they will deliver time and time and time again there. No questions asked. So anyway, Debbie's saying, hey, he had a little aura light around him. Yep. Thanks, Dan. I feel like I was going mad. You will be about the 200th student I've spoken to in the last 6 to 8 months who all think they're going crazy. All think they're going crazy. All think that they're making it up. All think that, I can't be seeing these things. I can't be hearing these things. This cannot be right. This cannot be right. Why can't it be right? If you've thought yourself into the spirit world, flip the switch, in the spirit world, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be seeing them things, unless unfortunately it's a psychic ability and you're just tapping into psychic energy or energy that's sort of just rounding about you. There's a difference between psychic energy and mediumistic energy. So let me explain this a little bit to you. If I'm working on a psychic link, it feels sort of gritty. So when I'm running that energy or when I'm feeling that energy, it's got this sort of what I would call sandpaper sort of gritty feel to it. It's like if you put sandpaper on your hand, on your arm, it would like, you know, like how it rubs. It's a bit like that when I'm working with it. When I'm working with the spirit world, it's like I've got just silk just running through me. It's just sort of like, it just like blends so effortlessly. It like it'll just sort of sink into my mind. It'll just sort of drop in. It's sort of drop in. Like it just sort of filters in, and then comes straight out my mouth. So what they're impressing stuff on my mind. It's filtering in through my clairvoyancy. It's filtering in through my hearing, and it's filtering in out through my mouth so that I can give it off. And it's such. There's a massive difference between, you can feel it, and as you work with energy more and you work with the spirit more and you work on that psychic link, I would recommend for people to work on both so you can feel the difference. You can get to feel the energy and how it works and how it feels for you. But for me personally, when I'm working on that psychic link, it's like a sandpaper. It's gritty. It's rough. It's bumpy. It's bump. Where when I'm working with the spirit world, it's just flow after flow after flow, and I could float for hours, and I could find all sorts of stuff to talk about. You know, it just depends. But every communicator is different. Not all communicators talk the same way. Some communicators don't want to talk at all, and people say, well, that can't be right because you're a medium. Well, unfortunately, it is right, because you can't make a spirit do anything it doesn't want to do, and it's free will. And yes, it is automatically because of the medium's mind and how open the medium's mind. What you have to remember is most Buddha mediums that I start with, right, are quite fear-based. They've got all the sensories going on. You know, they've got all these people, they've got all these noises, they're hearing this, they're hearing that, they're feeling this, they're feeling that, and they don't know what's going on. So straight away, a lot of mediums, when I first meet them or I get to them, have either got a lot of fear in them, or they've been taught the wrong way, or they've got some kind of sort of problem with the way in which they're being taught. And there's been a lot of old school teaching going on, and I still teach elements of it, but I am also incorporating new stuff into that. But a lot of the old stuff that's been implemented for many years, it's unfortunate, it's harder to get that out and to put the new stuff in. And there isn't that many teachers that I know, well, I know a few of them, who are training as much of the way that I am, ultimately because we're still sort of very much in that old school movement there. But what I do tend to find is that a lot of people think they're making it up. They're questioning everything. They're questioning themselves. And the majority of the time, once I fix the medium, which is the person, I tend to find that their mediumship starts to settle, because mediumship is not just about the evidence in which it's given from the spirit world. It's also soul growth as well of the person, of the individual. And I think a lot of people forget this, and this is where philosophy comes in. And when we first started out, and we were doing a lot of communication many years ago, when we first started out in the mediumship movement, yes, it was to prove survival, and it was to prove, you know, the evidence that life continued after death. But there was also an incorporation of philosophy there, and how the spirit world could help the souls that live here on the earth elevate and move forward and continue to live on their life path. So a mediumship is an evolution of not only messages of the other side, but also an evolution of the soul of the medium, of the person, wanting to be a better person, wanting to strive to be that better person. So there's you have to bear this in mind. So what I tend to find is once I fix the medium, or find out what the fear is, eliminate the fear, their mediumship moves forward, no problems asked, until they find the next block, which the mind builds in triggers. And what I do is I release the triggers. So I let the triggers go. So the triggers are things that have been planted inside of your mind. You planted in, by the way. Please don't take that the wrong way, but you've planted in where you've had old fears, you know, certain things of abandonment, you know, these types of things. So if I eliminate the fear, you become what I call limitless, which allows your mind to become limitless for the spirit world. So if I'm constantly getting you to be in a better place and be more positive, we're releasing the triggers, we're finding out what's triggering you, we're putting that right, and then we're pushing your mediumship on, which is constantly evolving your mind. And it is what I call a soul journey mediumship. It's not just about messages, it's about soul journey as well. It's so much more to mediumship than just the messages. But me personally, that's how our training is. Also with the hints and tips, because remember, your mediumship will always be your mediumship. It will never be mine. All I can do is help you release the triggers that hold your mind back, which is holding you back, because it's always you that's holding your mediumship back, not the spirit world. The spirit world never change. They're constantly there. They never move. They never do anything. So what's holding your mediumship back time and time again will always be you. So what I do is I fix that. So then you move forward. Then you'll find another stumbling block. So we fix that, eliminate that, and then we'll push you forward. Then you'll build in another fear. So then we eliminate that and take that out. And then you keep moving forward till eventually you become where you have all this skill set and know that them fears exist and how to stop them fears stepping back in so they don't affect your mediumship or affect you anymore. So then what ultimately becomes, we'll never be perfect. Always remember that. But what we can do and what we will do is eliminate just about every fear or trigger so that ultimately your mediumship never stops. Even though we have stuff in the walking world that goes on each and every day, we can eliminate them triggers so that they're not triggering you off all the time, so they're not constantly messing with your head, because you're a mental medium, it's the stuff that messes with your head that messes with your mediumship, because the stuff inside your mind is telling you you can't do it. The fear's going, you're not good enough, you're making it up, you're not saying these things, X, Y, and Z. So that's why I do it the way I do it. So I hope that helps you anyway there, Debbie. Sorry if I didn't type all my comments while I was heavily pregnant. Haven't happened since, but frightened me. Was while heavily pregnant. Sorry if I didn't type all my comment. This was while heavily pregnant. Hasn't happened since, but frightened me. Mama loves you. Let me know a little bit more about that, because I haven't seen any more of your comments. Right. Oh, here, I've seen some at the top. My apologies there, Mama. Uncomfortable and painful. Plus, I had problems on top. Also, every time, early morning, lay in bed, would see a figure pass in front of the window, look like a negative of a photo. Right. So basically, you're seeing like story, what we call the video clips, which is that is a mediumship link. There's nothing wrong with that. If you were actually to click into that stream of energy, because remember, the video clip is just an energy there. What I would say is once you click into that, you will find that you get more and more on the reel. So the reel will start and play for you. So you're clicking into the energy. And once that energy starts flowing, they will start and feed more and more and more in until your mind goes, no, I don't like that. Stop doing that. And then it'll either stop or you won't allow it in. It's always the mind that stops it. It's only until the mind or you is the human step in and go, no, I don't do that. I don't like that. And that's when the mediumship will either stop or you will find that you become fear-based around your mediumship. Let's have a look. So you're always, yep, you do wonder if it was just you, right? The one I've seen was like a black shadow, right? I'll talk a little bit about black shadows, Jill, should I? Because black shadows is just an energy. Let's talk a little bit about. So for all of you who know, I've done a bit of physical mediumship, and I've also been a lot of seances and stuff like that. And I sit for trance in my home circle and this and the other. But in a cabinet or within connections to, and I was talking to my people about this actually. Let me take a drink of this water. So with cabinet work is seance work to me and you. It is where the medium sits in the cabinet and will produce ectoplasm. Ectoplasm is the fluid that sits between the layer of the skin and also the layer of the flesh. And what happens is ectoplasm is produced out of holes within the body. So out the nose, out the ears, out the mouth, out the belly button. Can come out of just about anywhere, to be fair. Now, ectoplasm comes in different forms. So, i.e., ectoplasm comes in a black form, which is the rare form, which is before the light particles, because then we get light or white ectoplasm, which is when the light has hit it, or the light particles have started to impact upon the energy in order to change its colour. So when you talk to me about black shadows, I actually asked my guys about this. Black shadows is actually the start or formulation of the energy. So it's the first stages of the manifestation of the spirit. Then what happens is the white ones, this is where the light particles have hit the energy and it has started to change and transmute. Then what could then go on is then we could then have another episode where it would then become a full materialization, where you would see the clothing, maybe some features, these types of things. So when you see black figures, it's actually the first stages of the rare form of the energy, which is also the way that your mind is allowing you to see it in order so that you can understand it also. So well done, Jill. Marie saying, I started sitting with spirit and so far they've shown me my own childhood memories and I feel like it feels lonely. Right. Then you need to go back to your guides, Marie, and ask why they're taking you there. There will be a reason as to why they're taking you back there. What is it that you need to let go of? What's making you lonely? Why are they showing you? Why are they telling you you're lonely? What is it that's triggering you off? What's stopping you from moving forward from that place? What is it? I don't know that, but your guides will, and there'll be a reason as to why they've took you there. Go back, question it more, ask more, what you showing me this for? I'll tell you a story about 5 years ago. Just before when I first come up onto the path, I wasn't in a good place. My ex-partner, who I was due to marry, and that was I spoke about this, he was cheating on me and stuff, and he had another girl pregnant and all the rest of it. I lost my nana and that all in the space of at the same time. It also had a real tough time in my job. And then I was actually up on the path and I was working, I was meditating and things like that. And my guides took me back to an incident that happened when I was not a small child, but when I was in my teenage years. And there was something from there that I hadn't released and I hadn't let go and was still reoccurring. And it was actually reoccurring again in that situation. And it was something that I had to work on in order so that I could let it go, so that my soul could evolve, so that I could then take that trigger out of my mind, so that that fear would dissipate there. So I would ask your guides as to why they're showing you that, why they've taken you back there, and why is it that they feel it's important, or what is it that you need to let go of in order for your soul to evolve there. All right, let's have a look. Fear has stopped me. Fear will stop anybody's mediumship. I can give you all the teaching in the world. I can give you all the hints and tips in the world. I can put you in front of some of the best in the business. And if you are frightened and you can't push yourself forward, even with the skill set in which that you've been given, and it's been shown to be proven that you can link to the spirit world and these types of things, it will hold you back every time. Even if with the techniques that I have for my students, and I have some of them, and this is where it talks about the newbie and the fledgling and the person who's never given a message before. They will get up and give off, and you know why? Because they don't know any different. They don't. What tends to happen is that they then come back, because they did so well on the first time, and maybe they get a different communicator, they get a different sitter or whatever it may be, who's not maybe as accommodating as the first message they give, and then they may get a couple of no's, or they may panic, and that will start to build a fear in, oh well, it went really, really well the first time, but why is it not going really well this time? Because you've got a different communicator, you've got a different sitter, there's different dynamics here, there's different energy flow at this time, which straight away builds in a fear, because then they feel like they haven't been able to do it as well, or they feel as if that's not quite right, or it went so well the first time but it hasn't gone well this time. So people automatically panic, and then the fear will set in. So what it means is they then have a fear of letting people down, or letting themselves down, or showing themselves up. And that is when that has to be about you. You have to go away and look at you. You have to look at why you feel that way. Why is it that you feel you're not good enough to deliver these awkward, hard, maybe not so easy messages? Because if you can't deliver them, then it's something with you. It's a fear in you, and you have to let that fear go, because the spirit world knows how perfect you are. They know how good you are, and there's no reason why you can't deliver that message, if that makes sense. I thought I was mad and I never told anyone till my partner saw it. Lovely. Oh, lovely, not lonely. Right. Okay. Well, you wrote, Marie, you put, oh, lovely. All right. Sorry, I didn't read that properly. My mistake. My apologies. Do take my apologies there, Marie, won't you? Mama saying, I thought I was mad and I never told anyone till my partner saw it. I didn't say anything. Just looked at me and said, did you see that? Yeah. But you needed validation. You didn't need the validation. You knew it was there. You should trust it. And this is what I say about what people learn to trust what you get, give what you get. Because as soon as you give what you get, they'll feed in more. They'll feed in more. They'll give you more. You would have probably seen that whole reel if your mind and you allowed it. It may not have. Your mind may have stopped, or you may have stepped in and stopped that communication halfway through, or whatever it may be. But you should trust it. If you've seen it, you should have talked about it, because more than likely it will be there. You know what I mean? I've been called all sorts, you know. Honestly, I have, you know, from the crazy lady to, yeah, this, that, and the other. And that's not just from, like, the general public. That's from co-workers. It's from people I know, you know, family members, whatever it may be there. And you've got to learn to just, like, it's got to be like water off a duck's back. You've just got to let it go, if that makes sense. You've just got to accept that not everybody's going to have the same opinion as you. Not everybody's going to think the same things as you. And that's okay. It's just the way it is sometimes there. It was lovely. Right, then what I would say to you there is maybe it's a lovely time, or there's something that they want to talk to you about that there, Marie. So have a look at that. What is it that they're trying to bring in? Are they trying to bring in that lovely time of your childhood? Is a time now when you can be that lovely time again? There's no worries or problems here. Everything's going okay. You know, you must have felt very safe at that time, very happy, very loved. Well, then what's the spirit world trying to tell you? You're very happy, you're very safe, and you're loved. All right. Sarah saying, thanks, Danielle, for your help. I have to go to work. Advice, I'm going to work on the advice you've given me, and God bless and good night. All right, Sarah, no problem at all. So that is some of the things that will maybe stop your mediumship. Like I say, I can give you all the skill sets in all day, every day. I can tell you how to do this, how to do that, how to link the spirit world, how to do all of these types of things. But if you are still sort of, thanks, I love it. Yeah, they're really good. I have an exceptionally lovely team. I couldn't fault them. I couldn't. They're such a lovely bunch, and there's no issues or problems with my lot. Like, I have to be honest, they're there for me no matter what. They tell me stuff and all sorts of things, man. And it's like it becomes like it's a team. It's a team effort. It's not just you working for the spirit world. It's you, your team, and the spirit world. And I see so many people shut their team off, or, you know, we're going to do it this way because we think we know best. And it's an insult. It's insulting the spirit world. You're insulting your team by thinking that you know best and that you can do it better than them. And, you know, they haven't been in the spirit world for, 200 years. For you who's been on the earth plane, it's insulting for your team. I think it's insulting of the spirit world. Your team is just as important and should be involved in your work just as much as you are, because otherwise, what's the point of having them? What's the point if you're not going to work with them, or you're not going to allow them to resist you, or you're not going to allow them to get involved in the things that they're designed for? Then what was the purpose of them ever coming forward in the first place? Any more questions? I'm going to drink this water while I'm waiting. Oh, what is lush. So, let me sort of recap on certain elements and certain things. I would say for anybody who's struggling, or anybody who's not in the best place possible with their mediumship at the moment, go away, check in with your guides. That's what I would do. Definitely go away and check in with them. Certainly see how they can assist you. Certainly talk to them, because they will always want to assist you no matter what. They will always want to help you. Their advice is far better than my advice will ever be. Their advice will always be catered around you. It will be designed around you, and it will be to get you moving again as quickly as possible. The spirit world will never leave. How can I strengthen the bond between myself and my spirit team? Right. How did I do it? Now, how I do it may not necessarily work for everybody, but we'll give it a whirl here, because you've got to remember everybody's unique and everybody's working differently, right? But my clairvoyance only works when I'm working for the spirit world, or if I've shifted my consciousness over to see my guides. Now, I don't always see my guides all the time. I might only see elements of them, or I might only see bits and pieces of them, depending on where my mind is and how much I'm allowing in at that time. I tend to work on the fact that I know they're just there. I know the difference between how that one feels and how that one feels. That's how it works for me. Now, what I used to do is I used to sit for 15 minutes and still do 3 times a week. I don't sit as much as I used to because I'm too busy. I've got other things on and they accept that. But I do 15 minutes each week. And what I do is I ask my guides to step forward. Now when they step forward, like I say, I work on a known vibration, so I just know what this one feels like, that one feels like, and the other one feels like. But it's a known, it's an inside calling. Now for those who aren't working that way for clairsentience, the best thing to do is get your guides to step in, step out, step in, step out. So eventually you get the feeling of what that guide feels like. Clairvoyance, what I will say is ask them to show themselves to you, but you may not always see that. Remember, you may see them as energy, but you may not always see them like that. You may see them as people, so it all depends. It's just 6 and 2 3s there, all right? What I would say is sit for 15 minutes a time. Put your intention into what it is that you're wanting. So if you're wanting to strengthen the bond between yourself and your guides, then it becomes where you're testing them. And what that does is it also gains your trust in the spirit world. So what you would do is so for example, today, I said to one of my lot today, I'm interested in something and something, and I'd be interested in seeing what would happen with something and something. Could you send me a sign? So it was a yes and a no answer. So I asked for a 20 pence piece. Pennies, they're kind of easy to come by. So 20 pence pieces are a little different, right? So I said, here, give us this 20 pence piece. Heads for yes, tails for no, right? Because they're not predicting. They're just sort of telling me one way or the other what the answer will be. And I would like that 20 pence piece by Saturday. So I give them some time, to find give them some time to get it sorted out. Now, it doesn't matter how that 20 pence comes in, as long as it comes in either heads or tails, I will know then the answer to the question. This is gaining trust with them. Also, you can also ask for them to, when you're doing open circles or when you're doing certain sort of sittings, you can test them by the evidence in which that they bring forward, which will help to build that connection, or will help you to strengthen that connection. The best thing I can say is sit and talk to them. And talk to them about anything and anything. And especially if you don't see them, you're going to be sitting in the dark. And that freaks a fair few people out. It does. It freaks people out. People think that there's something wrong. People think that they're doing something wrong. And they think that they are, because they're not seeing colour, or they're not seeing this, or they're not seeing that, they think that they're doing something wrong in that capacity. And they're not really. They're just that's the way it is for them at that time. So we'll learn to just talk to them. And even though you might not see them or you might not feel them, they'll still hear you. In that way, even that way is a good way of testing them, because then what happens is the stuff comes in. You could ask to put in certain aspects for your work if you're working for the spirit world. So say, look, I'd like to try conditions. I want to do conditions with them, or I want more in depth with my conditions, and watch to see if it comes in with your work. And that will prove to you that they're listening to you and they're bringing that in there for you as well. So there's some of the ways that you can strengthen with them. You could also try with names. So you could ask to hear more names, or you could ask to see more imagery work, or you could ask for more feeling work. You ask and see if they deliver it. And if they deliver it, then that means they're listening to you. And if they're listening to you, then they are ready to help you and want to help you. So that's some of the ways I would recommend that you can strengthen to your guides. Kerry's here. Good evening, Kerry. I hope you're well, my love. Quite sad. Really think that they were because I was in pain and because of my fear turned them away. Would love to know who it was. I can never tell you, Mama, who it was, because I wasn't there in order to be able to get involved in that. But what I will say to you is try to watch the fear. Fear is the biggest downfall in mediumship every time. I say it every time. It's not about your skill set. It's not about how much spiritual toolboxes we can put in there. It's not about how many mechanics we can get in there. If you're fear-based, or you've got a lot of fear sitting inside of you, it will ultimately slow you down. It will stop your mediumship from moving forward, because your mind is in control. The conscious mind's in control. You are in control, and the spirit world's not in control. And what we need to do is let go of the control on the earth plane and give the control back to the spirit world and allow them to do their job, if that makes sense. But next time, evening to Karen, I hope you're well, darling. I hope you're keeping all right. But next time when they come forward, maybe I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to take this clip out. I hope you don't mind, but my head's killing me. My clips in the back of my head. Sorry about that. I've just got a bad head with I've been working, my hair's been up all day. There we go. So what I will say to you is next time it happens, don't turn them away, sweetheart. Just keep them, all right, and just learn to run with it. Learn to run with it, and if you get stuck, then just accept that that's where your mind wants to be for now, and then when maybe further down the line we can push that forward and we can allow that to be expanded more. If you push the mind too much, or you make the mind do things it doesn't really want to do, what can happen is the mind can shut it down altogether and it becomes so fear-based that you can never get back in there. So we have to be careful of how much we're pushing the mind and how much we're pushing the human as well, because the human can only take so much. The human has got to be ready. You can't make anybody make their mediumship move forward unless they're ready to move their mediumship forward. You can give hints and tips and advice and all this and the other, but ultimately if that person's not ready to take on the advice, or not prepared to put the hard work in, or not prepared to put the graft in, then they're not ready, and you have to accept that as a teacher, that there's some I can help and some that will be able to take my techniques and to the next level and take their mediumship to the next level. There's other people that I can only help for so long, and then ultimately they'll either leave and go back, or they will eventually just move forward and go somewhere else, because unfortunately the skill set, or they're not ready to take on the skill set that I'm ready to teach there. So I have to be always mindful of that there as a teacher as well. Got to go now, Danielle. Have a lovely night, Debs. All right, take care there. But with connections to your bond, Marie Parkinson, take your time with it. Don't rush it. I see a lot of people want to rush the mediumship. Please don't rush it. Take your time with it, sweetheart. I mean, I was guilty of that, I rushed my mediumship terribly, because I was just up and on my feet in a way. It was just like I was so natural, but mine slowed down a lot because I wanted to slow it down, because I wanted to, if you hear what I say, I wanted to slow my mediumship forward down. I didn't want to move it as fast as what I was moving it. I wanted to slow down because I'm busy on the earth playing with other aspects of my life, and in there going very well, actually. I was quite excited by that. But yeah, so I'm quite excited by all them things. So I wanted to slow my mediumship a little bit more down so I could be Danielle, so I could enjoy my earthly things, if that makes sense. So I slowed it down, not the spirit world. I did. I slowed my mediumship down. I changed my ability. I slowed my ability down, not the spirit world. Always remember that. Mama says you will certainly try. Thank you. No problem at all. No problem at all. How is Karen? I hope you're well, Karen. I hope you're keeping okay, because a couple of the girls have been in touch. You'll have to give me an inbox, Karen, because a couple of the girls have been in touch about some of the sittings or something. I'm not quite sure what's going on. You'll have to fill me in when... I don't know. I'll speak to you in a bit. I'll bring you tomorrow. It's my day off tomorrow. I'll ring you tomorrow. Hiya to Kerry. I hope you're well, Kerry. I hope you're keeping okay. Any more questions? Karen, you've always got questions. Any questions for me? Dearie me. Any more questions? Or is it all done? Yes? No? If it is all done, then I'll wrap it up for the night. Never done. I know. Well, how are then, Kerry? Gives you questions. Come on. Any other questions? Any questions? I think a few users typing. I can feel he's typing on the thingies. Danielle, what makes a good one-to-one reading? What makes a good one-to-one reading? The best thing that I can say about giving a good one-to-one reading, and funny you should ask that, Kerry, because I'm about to put a video up about that tomorrow. The best thing that I can say about a good one-to-one reading is building a relationship with your client. That is the number one thing more than anything in this world. That client needs to feel comfortable. That client needs to feel safe. That client needs to be able to relax, because on a one-to-one sitting, they are very, very personal. On a floor demonstration, there's a little bit more room for growth. There's a little bit more room because the room is open. You know, there's not as much in-depth stuff. When it comes to personal one-to-one sittings, it is about making sure that my client is as comfortable and as happy as possible. Second, always evidence, always compassion, empathy for your client, but not where you are pushing your life on to the client. Ethics, always remember your ethics as well. How you present your work, the way in which that you present your work, how you speak, how you open a door to a client, how you approach a client. You know, when they first come through the door, first impressions, right? They say first impressions make everything carry. You know, you want them to feel when you open the door. Like, for example, I've been sitting tonight. Girl come through. Are you reading spiritually? No, Leanne. Sorry, unfortunately not. No. I opened the door. It was like, good evening. You know, I'm Danielle. Very nice to meet you. Please come in. You know, can I take your coat? You know, would you like a cup of tea? You know, all them things is preparing my client for the sitting in which that they have, especially if I've got new clientele who've never taken sittings before. And gentlemen, most clients, every client that comes through the door is nervous in some capacity or other, and I'm there to alleviate that stress and take a load off. You know, look, you're a friend, we're going to be friends for the next half an hour, do you know what I mean? You're my new best pal, you know, let me help you. That's how I approach my clients. That's how I make my clients feel incredibly, you know, home, welcoming, you know, these types of things. You know, like I say, always evidence. Evidence is really important, but always the evidence of the communicator, and not so much me. I mean, 2 of my lasses tonight have gone out in tears, but that is not the purpose of my readings. But sometimes I know tears is part of it. I've seen people hugging me in the room and everything, you know, but then I've also had people shouting at me, and also, you know, it depends on. The expectation for one-to-one sittings now is massive. People have come with massive expectations because of the fact that the general public's expectations are a lot higher these days. And sometimes I don't always hit that bar. I'll be very honest about that, Kerry. I don't. The majority of the time, yeah, but not always. And why? Because different regions for different spirits for different vibrations. It's not always going to work every time. And I have no problem in saying that, because ultimately, if I was to sit here and go out and read for everybody and I can get anybody up the spirit well, and that and do this and that and do that, well, then I'm just a big egotistic swine, and that's not me. I would rather just put my hands up there and go, it wasn't for me, it didn't work that time. But does it work for me, Kerry? Yeah, kind of bit of the time. But there would be some of the things that I would recommend. Make sure your house is clean and tidy, you know, if you're reading in a house or office space. Office spaces can be a little formal. You know, personal sittings are meant to be homely. They're meant to be a personal touch. That's the whole point. Personal sitting. Keep to time. That's another thing. And all, don't overrun. Stick to time, half an hour. Most people do them in 20 minutes. Do you talk for a while before you start reading? I just want to start, but nervous. I introduce myself. I sit them down, ask them, have they had a reading before? They'll say yes or no. If they say no, I sort of fill them in, because it's important that you fill them in. If they've had readings before, you can sort of get cracking and stuff. I tell them to relax, take it easy, and then I just sort of just move my consciousness, and I'll say to them, I'm aware I've got your father here. Your father's come forward to tell me this, and this. It depends on what it is that dad's talking about at that particular time. But every communication is different, just like it is on a floor event. Some people will be able to nail it first time. I tell you how I did mine. I first started out on telephones, so I work on voice vibration. So I knew straight away I was never working on a psychic level. I was always working on a mediumistic level. Telephone appointments, that's how I started. And then I moved from that to one-to-ones. Then I moved from that to groups. Then from that to floor. All in the space of about 3 years. I was quite quick actually, Kerry. But yeah, yours as I want to. There's personal sittings are lovely. Do you know what I mean? If you don't mind people traipsing in and out of your house and you've got no problem with that, you know. But I've been sitting now for 4 years actually. I've been sitting for 4 years. Privately sitting probably 3. Professionally with telephone appointments 4. But if you don't mind that, and you've got no issue with that, then yeah, by all means do it. It means you've got to have your Hoover out all the time, and you've got to dust and all them types of things, because obviously these people are coming into your home and these types of things. I mean, I've had a range of clients. I tried to do some readings through a page on here, but never got anyone, so I'm not doing that again. Right. Okay. Right. I tell you whether, could there be a reason why? Because maybe you're trying to link in psychically before, because photo readings are psychics. You're linking in psychically, then drawing the communicator forward. You're sort of linking in. Or you could have actually took your mind to the spiritual world and brought the communicator forward. So I'd be interested, which way did you do it, darling? Tell me which way you did it. Right, you're putting fear in there, Kerry, now, because you can see there when you said to us, you try to do some readings through a page on here, but never got anyone, so that's panicking, and then you said, so I'm not doing that again. So it's frightened you a little bit, because either one, the video link through a person, right, okay, right. Video link through a person, right, but explain to me, how did you connect? Tell me how you connected. So did you walk yourself in there? How did you connect? Or did you just look at the person and try to think who was with the person? Which way did you do it? Because I'm trying to determine whether you went in psychically or whether you went in mediumistically. Do you understand what I mean? I'm trying to work out how you went in. Buffing. Right, so there was 5 or 6 people all on, and they were taking turns to read each other, right? It's all right, I can understand what you're saying, don't worry about it. So there was 5 or 6 people all on the thing, right, on the video, taking turns reading each other, right? So you'll bring them to FaceTime, or you'll bring them to the camera and you're reading them, okay, right? What happened? Did you not get anybody? The spirit world would never send, the spirit world would not send anybody. So right? So how are you linking in, Kerry? What is the technique? What's the technique you've got for linking in? What is it? What are you being taught? Who's taught you? Who's taught you? I can't understand that. How you wouldn't have anybody? How would you know anybody? Sorry, folks, my little brain's just like, I'm going to take my mind to the spirit world. I've worked that one out. Right. Are you moving your consciousness over, Kerry? So are you moving from the earth world to the from the physical world to the spiritual world? Are you flipping the switch? And even if, right, even if you weren't going in on a mediumistic link, I would even get you to go in on a psychic link, because even if you went in on a psychic link, the spirit world would still then step in anyway. So I tell you what to do. I didn't really like teaching people this way, but I can teach you this way. If you're struggling, which way are you working? What clays are you working with, Kerry? Tell me what clays you're working with. I'm going to give you some exercises, I think. Tell me what clays you're working with. So if and when the spirit world does step forward, right? How do you feel? How do you feel them? Do you feel them? Do you know they're there? Do you see them? Do you hear them? Do you smell them? Do you taste them? Tell me what it is. See more since my mum died, and I don't really have much feeling, but I can feel at times. See more. Right. So if you see in the spirit world, right, if you're seeing them, what do you see? Do you see faces? Do you see hands? Do you see feet? Do you see fully fledged? Do you see energy? Tell me what you see. Video clips. Right. Right. How many video clips do you see in one go? I used to have a girl who used to work like you years ago. How many clips do you see all in one go? 1, 3, 2. Sorry, folks, we'll be right with you in just a moment. We'll be right with you. Loads, but they just fly by. Right. Do you know who your people are, Kerry? No. Right. That makes no difference. What we're going to do here, right, is I'm going to try this exercise. I want you, the next time you see them video clips, to tell them to slow them down. You need them to tell them, slow them down. And then what we want is just one of them to come forward. It doesn't matter which one it is. It doesn't matter whereabouts in the video it is, because we can either fast forward that or move that back given time. I can give you a tip for that. But what we want to do is slow them down. We need to slow the video clips down. So whoever it is that's giving you the video clips, there's somebody there. There's got to be somebody there because they're giving you the video clips. So therefore, there's got to be somebody behind the video clips. But that's irrelevant. We're not interested in who's behind them. We're just interested in what's in the video clips. That's all we're interested in. So forget about the people. Forget about that. Just forget it. Forget it's even existing, right? But what we want to do with the video clips, we want to slow them down. So they're slowed down. And then what we're going to do is just reach for one video clip. So when you're next sitting with whoever it is that you've been training with on the video thing, right? Did you get a video clip at all? Did you get anything? You couldn't get nothing. There's got to have been something there if you were connecting to the spirit world, because the spirit world will never let you down. Yep, right. So when you were reading with the 5 or 6 people, was there anything at all there? Anything? Was there a video clip? We'll be right with you, folks. Yes, but no one can take it. Right, okay. So, right, listen to me. So you took a bit of a snippet out of the video clip, right? So let me help you. You would have probably had on a reel, there's probably been about 8 in the video clip, right? You probably punched for a video clip that was 2. So what I want you to say is when you're picking the video clips out, say them, slow them down and give me the one that's most relevant to the person in that video clip who was in that video setup. How many was it? 5 years, 6 years? Right? You want the most relative video slot. So if you've got 8 or 9 of them all in the video clip, 6, right? What you doing on? We'll be right with you. What you want to be doing is you need to be saying, because your people, oh shit now. Sorry, I've just, wait a minute, Kerry, I'll be right where you're doing, just a minute. Right, what you need to be doing is you need to be picking out, right, so there were 6 people in there, right? All them 6 people are still up for grabs. It doesn't matter to make any difference. You've got out of that 8 or 9 video clips flying round, okay? What you need to say is slow them down and give me the one that's most relevant to the person in this group. And they will give you that, all right? because forget about the person behind it. We're not interested in them. Forget it. They're already doing their job. They're already giving you the mediumistic link. They're already giving it. You don't need to be looking run for the communicator. You didn't need to be looking for none of that. Why? Because it's all in the video clips. It's just you work differently, that's all. You work differently to other people. Don't worry, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just that you work differently to other mediums that I train. But I have trained a girl like you. She was a good friend of mine, actually. And that's all she's seen them as, video clips. They will always be on a reel, but you'll never see the reel. You'll just say, yes, thank you. You will just see the video clips. All right? So what you do is when you start to see them, say, right, slow that down. Pack that up and slow it down. And give me the one that's most relevant to the person in the room, because they could be giving you a bit of evidence, which does happen. And I see people whine and whinge about this, about they give you bags full of evidence and go away, but that's irrelevant. The spirit world know they may have give you a slot of information where you've grabbed that video clip and it hasn't been enough in order to be able to build the story off. You're quite lucky, Kerry, you've already got the story. Most mediums I'm training's got to go into the spirit world, bring the communicator forward like this, with the thoughts and, all these types of things, and then what's the story, morning glory? You're already here. You're already at what's the story. You haven't got the relationship, whether it's a man or a woman or a thought, because you've already gone to step 4. Does that make sense? You're already here. You're already getting your story. So you're quite fortunate. You don't even know how it's off and this, that, and the other. But because somebody's training you or people's making you think you've got to have the man and the woman or the relationship before you can get to the story, you're already at the story. So don't worry about whether it's a man or it's a woman or this, that, and the other. Forget it. Dump it. Put it in the back seat. It's irrelevant. Move on. Go to your video clips. The video clip and the story's already there, but nobody could take it because you pulled out the segment that hasn't been able to build the story up to that segment. So what you need to say to them is slow the video clip down. Do you get it? Slow the video clip down and give me the video clip that's relevant to the person in the room. Try that. Dump the rest. Use your video clips. That's your link. That's the way you work. Work with it. Work it to the best of its ability. All right? Okay, any other questions? And just because nobody could take it doesn't mean to say that you were wrong. It just means that you didn't have enough evidence or you didn't have enough of the video clips to back it up. That's all. And remember, Kerry, everybody's on their stage. Not everybody. Some people are further along the path than others. That doesn't make you any worse or any better of a medium. Just because other people's got this nailed and they can tell you the communicators and tell you this and tell you that and da-da-da-da-da. That doesn't make them a better medium than you. Just you need a little bit more help right now. And some of us do from time to time. That's all. Okay? Before long, I'll have you give full-blown messages. The whole shebanger. And I will, because I'm making my business to make sure that you get up and on it, because I know how much you want it. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think everybody gets you. That's all. Anyway, any other questions? My apologies. And my battery's going to go low on this phone. So any other questions there, please? Thank you, Kerry, for your question. I really do appreciate it. How do you connect when you do a telephone one-to-phone? How do I connect? It's normally voice vibration. For me, Galaxy Girl, it's normally voice vibration. So normally I will pick the phone up, I'll introduce myself, make my client feel comfortable again. What I'll do is I'll listen to the voice, but then I'll also be taking my mind, so I'll be walking my mind to the spirit world, going, right, who is this lady looking for? And start to feel around and about who it is that's present there. I'll then either hear father or mother-in-law or whatever, and then I would say to my client, you be aware I've got a lady here who tells me she's your mother, and she would say yes. And as that starts to come in and as I feel her draw in, I'll say, what's your story, Don? And she will then start to impress and give me feelings, and I'll hear things and I'll say things, and then I can relay that in my mind and then give it off. Sometimes I don't always package it right, so it's got to be returned or rechanged. No bother, Kerry, in order so that my client understands it. Because sometimes the way they're impressing it upon my mind is a little bit different to the way in which that I interpret it. So I have to learn to adapt their interpretation so that my client understands it better. So I hope that understands. But voice vibration as well also helps me with them types of things. Sometimes I write as well. So I don't automatic write, but I just tend to find when I'm working, especially with telephone appointments, I write it so that it's easier. So as they're already working a link through my mind, there's another link already dropping in and I'm writing that down. So should I need to go back or cover something else, then that link is on the paper and I then re-give that. So that's how I do it. I hope that answers your question for you there, Galaxy Girl. No bother, Kerry. No bother at all. Are we all done? Are we finished? Yes? Yes. I'm gonna have my tea. I haven't had my tea yet, you know. I've had nothing since 11 o'clock this morning, since I had my porridge, because I've been on the go all day. It's done, thanks. Well done. Thank you very, very much. I wish you the best of luck with the Galaxy Girl and you, Kerry, as well, with connections to your work and stuff. I hope it all works out for you, girls. Practice makes perfect. That's my answer to it. Practice makes perfect. And it will come. Just remember, not everybody is you're working. You know, it's your path, it's your mediumship, you're unique. Embrace your uniqueness, embrace your mediumship. Not one shoe fits all for every trainer. And by learning to good, thanks for the good session. Yeah, well, I'm going because my phone's about to die as well, and I need to sort that stream out as well. Remember that not everything that everybody teaches is going to fit you. So bear that in mind when you're doing your mediumship. And sometimes you need to look elsewhere in order to find out people who are on your wavelength. All right. Take it easy. Have a great evening. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for everybody who's been here. Thanks very much for all your questions and stuff. It's been good to be back. It's the first one back. I'll be back next Wednesday for another live Q&A question and answering time. But for me, with a lot of love, bye for now.